Yeah, so we'll just talk for about 10 or 15 minutes, and this isn't live. We'll take the best parts and kind of edit, just include those, and the rest of it will go somewhere else.
Perfect. Away.
Yeah, yeah. We don't know where it goes. So let me ask you, when I usually talk to fiction writers and I ask them, where their ideas come from, it's like, blah, blah, blah. They cannot talk about it. It's
Yeah.
very difficult to articulate, but the idea both for your blog and for this book must have come to you in a very specific way. Can you just talk about the inspirations for it?
Well, I was obsessed with food scenes when I was in literature when I was a kid. It started really young for me, and I think it was because I was really shy and I read a lot, and it was a great comfort to me, and I connected really deeply with the characters that I was reading about, and eating the food that they were eating just made them seem more real to me. So it was something that started when I was really young, and it sort of followed me through my whole life. When I was in New York, I was working in restaurants and cooking, but also studying literature at NYU. So the push and pull between those two passions was always there. Yeah, and it's kind of been something that I've been interested in my whole life. It's interesting though, because sometimes it will be that I'm reading a book and I see a food scene and I want to recreate it, and sometimes it will be that I see a food in the market and I think I remember a food scene from a book, and I want to recreate it. So it comes from both places. It comes from loving food and it comes from reading.
Yeah. Well, there's this annual award for it's kind of like a joke award for writers who do not write well about sex in literature.
There are a lot of them.
Yeah. But is there anything that all writers who write well about food, is there anything they all have in common? Like, are they really evocative? Do they make you feel the taste? I mean, what?
Yeah. Well, I think it's really interesting because what interests me in food scenes and in literature is that it can do two totally opposite things. So it can really ground a book and its characters in reality because you're reading about what they're eating, and it's something that you can taste and you can smell and you can, you understand on sort of like an earthly level. But it can also make things more magical and more unrealistic. So if you are reading about a food that you've never heard of before, like if you're reading about something in Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, those things just further the fact that this is a world that you don't know, that you don't understand. So I think they can do two really different things, but the people who do it well, you understand what they're talking about. You've never had a fizzy lifting drink, but you can imagine what it is. So people who write about food well usually are people who you can tell love food, and they're able to really make you believe in what they're eating, what their characters are eating.
Yeah. So out of all the recipes in the book, which was the most difficult one to sort of concoct for you?
Well, I would say I was really lucky because Little Brown let me have free range, and I really wanted to do the pig's head from Lord of the Flies, and they let me, and I was really lucky that they let me. But I think that will probably be the most difficult one for readers to get their heads around, or maybe it will be the chicken liver mousse from Silence of the Lambs. I don't know.
Yeah.
But also, technically, that the pig's head is probably the hardest because not a lot of people have experience with it. But
yeah, I had a date the other night, and Copa di Testa was on the appetizer menu, and I asked the waiter to explain it, and he the first thing he said is head cheese.
Yeah.
And the guy that I was with grew up in South Texas, and like the idea of head cheese had never. He thought that was the weirdest thing.
Well, it's an absolutely horrifying name for something that's not not that bad. I mean, head cheese is delicious, but I think people, yeah, will call it, rustic pork terrine. We used to at the shop I worked at, just because once you hear head cheese, no one wants to eat it. But did you eat it? Did you get it?
No, like he probably would have left the restaurant.
Yeah.
So did you let friends and family sort of make suggestions as to which books you should include, or was it just all yourself?
It really was. It was all me. I wanted to make sure that I included a wide range of different kinds of books that would appeal to a lot of different people. There's the Aeneid in there, but then there's also like Donna Tartt novels and Gone Girl and stuff like that, because I wanted all kinds of readers to feel included in the book. So it took a long time for me to figure out which books would be in it, and of course there are always books that I wish were in it that aren't. But yeah, it was important to me to make sure that it was sort of it would reach a wide audience of readers.
Yeah. With stuff like, with ancient books like the Aeneid, did you have to do extra research to?
Well, all the books in the book, I did reread and did research. But the Aeneid I studied in college because I was a Latin major and an English major. Yeah.
I was a Latin major.
You were?
Yeah.
Oh my God! I've never met another one. There were only 4 other ones in my class. That's amazing. Yeah. So that was a big part of college was translating the Aeneid. So, but I did go back and read a lot of it, and that was neat. But yeah, I reread everything.
Yeah. So, is your hope for what readers take from the book that they become better cooks, or that they become better readers, or a little of both?
I think one of my hopes in general I hope that people will in general be less afraid of cooking. And I think that comes from working in customer service, not customer service, but working in a butcher shop, and people are really afraid of cooking. And I understand it. It's a stressful thing, especially if you're cooking for people you love and want to impress, but I hope people will approach the recipes boldly without fear. And yeah, I hope that people will read books that they maybe wouldn't have read because they see the recipe in it, or they read the essay and it piques their interest. I'm curious. I don't know if people will read it, sort of pick up the book and read the essays about books that they've already read, or if it will inspire them to read books they haven't read yet. I hope it will inspire them to read books they haven't read yet. Yeah.
Great. And so what's next for you?
That's such a good question. I'm not really sure. I just got back. I was overseas for a couple of months in England, working in some different butcher shops there, trying to sort of like learn as much as I can. And yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, I think once book tour is over and stuff like that, I'll probably get another job cutting, or maybe look into opening something of my own. But the dream is to keep writing and be able to support myself that way, but who knows?
Yeah. Well, that's great. Yeah. Well, congrats on the book. And so when you were Latin major, was there like a specific writer or period that you concentrated on?
Honestly, the Aeneid took up 2 years. I don't know, like, we did it really slowly. There was only 4 people in my class the whole time I was there.
And you went to NYU?
I went to NYU, yeah. Yeah. Where did you go?
Well, I'm a Texas native, so I went to UT. And I mean,
How many people were in your...
I mean, probably like 40 classics majors, but I did a little bit of Greek, but I concentrated on Latin. Yeah. I just liked it better. But, that's the whole school. So within the larger UT, like it was this, you felt like you were in your own little university. Yeah. It was great.
Oh, that's great.
But I started in high school. So
I did too. I started in middle school.
Oh, really? Wow.
We had to take it for a year in middle school, and then I liked it, and I kept going through high school. And then in college, I tried to take other like spoken language classes, and I couldn't do it. I don't know if it was because Latin sort of ruined me for spoken language, but I ended up going back to it, and I don't regret it. I loved it. It was wonderful.
Yeah, I'm very thankful.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I do this other job in addition to Kirkus as the program director of the San Antonio Book Festival.
Oh, cool.
Which is in April. It's April 2nd next year. So I might want to talk to Kathy about flying you down for that, and you could talk about the book.
That would be great. I've never been to Texas.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
San Antonio is a great food town. So
yeah, I've heard.
It might go over well. So anyway, well, I'll talk to her about that. And thanks for your time. And I hope
thank you
the
so
launch
much.
goes well.
Thank you.
Okay, have a good day.
You too.
Okay.